It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Things aren't always what they seem, or are they? A couple of weeks ago, I accepted an invitation to travel to San Diego, California for an influencer event. I had never been and had really heard great things about this city, especially about the weather. So I decided to accept. It would also be my first time interacting with the Kia Motors company, and so I told myself that was another great reason to say yes. Before I knew it, the day was here, and I was bidding adios to Angelica and Edgar for a few days. I was excited to be traveling to a new place for the first time. We had recently come home from another exploratory trip over the summer, this one through New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. And that one had really felt special. We didn't make it to California that time, but we had stopped at the Grand Canyon, and that was pretty magical in and of itself. So, of course, my expectations were quite high. This was a blog post that I wrote back in August of 2016. Wow. That's been like what, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 years ago. And I think this was our first time going to the Grand Canyon, if I'm not mistaken. I think that might have been our first time going to the Grand Canyon, or one of the first times that we went. And it was pretty, like, if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, like, you know that it's a beautiful place. It's like, it's one of those places that, like, I never really thought that you could go somewhere and that it would make you emotional, just to see like nature, just to see the mountains, just to see the landscape. But I have to admit that I was a little emotional when I went to see the Grand Canyon, because I was like, it made me feel so, as a child of immigrant parents, as a first generation hyphenated American, like a Mexican American. I don't know. There was just something about being in the Grand Canyon and looking at it and knowing that it was such a, what is it, the seventh wonder of the world. Um, and it was such a like staple of American culture, of American identity, that it made me feel like very grateful to be there, very grateful for the sacrifices that my parents had made, and that Angelica's parents had made for us to be here and for us to be there, and then for us to have Edgar there with us was like really really special, just because it. I mean, it's like, you can't explain the beauty of the Grand Canyon in words. And not even in pictures or video can you do it justice. It's one of those places that you have to see for yourself. You have to see it in person. And not only that, I mean, I think we had driven through New Mexico. I don't know if we stopped there this trip, or it was another one, but we've gone through like the White Sands National Monument, or National Park. I don't know what it's called. It's a national monument or national park. I'm not sure. So forgive me if I'm saying the wrong thing. Um, I think in Arizona we had stopped at the Sagua National Park, which is like full of the sagua, like the cactus that have like the arms up like that. That was beautiful, and I don't know, it's just like that part of that drive in that direction was gorgeous. I think we also went through Las Vegas, which was nice. It was decent, but I mean, if you like landscapes, if you like mountain drives, that was really nice. So let me continue with this. Um, Both were technically work trips, but when you've been doing this as long as we have, we had only been doing it since 2010, so 6 years. Calm down. You learn to just have fun and enjoy yourself on any new adventure. It's now been a few days since I returned home to Houston, and it really has taken that amount of time to fully process this trip. It was one of the most memorable ones I have been to in quite a while. That has to do mostly with me. Although, if I'm being completely honest, Kia really did pull out all the stops to make sure everyone in attendance was really having an amazing time. From the town car that picked me up at the airport to the impeccable days at the Hard Rock Hotel in the heart of Gas Lamp Quarter, everything was just so well planned and put together. No, it actually was. Like, it actually was a nice time, and I know it sounds like I'm trying to like oversell the thing, but no, it actually was a really nice experience. And so back in 2016, I think I was still getting invited to like brand things like this, where they were doing like trips. And a lot of times when you would go to trips, they would put you up in a hotel. They would, like, send a valet for you to the airport. So they were kind of giving you the royal treatment. And those were always fun. And I always enjoyed going. So, this was just happened to be one that I went to with Kia. And, it was a good time. And I had never been to San Diego, but I remember like being very impressed with San Diego because I don't know why I'm rocking back and forth, but no, San Diego is really beautiful. The weather's really nice. I remember we went to Balboa Park, and that was beautiful, but it was huge, and I didn't get to explore much of it. But so I want to go back to Balboa Park, and then we went to the bay, the bay. We drove around the bay, and there was like a little like a hill that you go up, like a mountain or something, and at the very top, like there's an overlook, and you can see the bay and you can see the city. That was really beautiful too. So, yeah, it was a really good trip, and I remember that now. Let's see. I'll get to more of that in a minute. For me, this trip was about reconnecting with myself and with Juan of Words, if that makes sense to anyone outside of this blogging business. You see, in the last couple of years, I had grown incredibly busy in many things outside of my blogging duties. I'd taken several high powered, high demand jobs that really required my full and undivided attention. And in doing so, in a way, I kind of felt like I had lost touch with myself as a writer and as one of the founders behind One of Words. I'd often find myself questioning whether my passion project stood and if I had veered too far off field that I would now not be able to find my way back. It was a question that kept me up at night. Okay, so let me stop there because I think like looking like sometimes the good thing about having a blog. So I've had this blog since 2010. So the good thing about having a blog like this is that you can go back and you like the good and bad. Let's be honest, because you can go back and you can read some of the stuff that you wrote, some of the things that you said, and some where your mindset was back then. And if this was 5 years ago, it was in my probably like mid 30s or like just above my mid 30s. So I wasn't even 40 yet. So I was a young guy, and it's interesting to read what the thoughts that you have. And this one, I mean, I don't think there's anything that crazy, but like just like reconnecting with my blog, like it's very existential, which I've had a few of those moments, and some of them were like manufactured by me, some of them were actually real, but I don't know, just interesting to read that. It was a question that kept me up at night. The good thing is that despite my creative frustration, I was able to move forward and continue producing content I could stand behind and be happy with. That, in large part, can be attributed to my wife's savvy counsel and invaluable patience throughout this whole process. She always knows what to say to get me out of a rut. Anyhow, as the San Diego trip came to an end, I couldn't help but feel different in some way. That's true. Like Angelica's always been very good at seeing things like visually for me that I sometimes don't see for myself. So I mean, yeah, I do have to give her credit for that because she has like in a lot of ways like motivated me to do things that I was like, I'm not sure. Like I have a tendency sometimes to be a little bit of a pessimist, and she kind of challenges me, and by challenging me, she makes me like be like, okay. Well, I guess if I do that, it's not that bad. Look how much younger I look in that picture. Peach fuzz and everything. Let's see. All right, so let's pick up again. This amazing group of influencers and content creators that Kia brought together reminded me again why I began this journey in the first place. Everyone there, besides being super talented and super creative, I'm sorry, I just had to read it like that, was at their core a true storyteller. Okay. That's why we created Juan of Words all those years ago, too. It was as if a switch went off in my head, and all of a sudden, all of the missing pieces made sense. I guess you could say I found my mojo again in San Diego. That feeling is quite incredible. Who knows what it was exactly that struck that chord, but all of a sudden, I knew that despite everything that had happened in the last couple of years, nothing had really changed in my purpose for Juan of Words. Perhaps it was the powerful sense of pride I felt at Chicano Park. Maybe it was the incredible, honest message Kia delivered to us to just be ourselves, or maybe it was the change of scenery. Whatever the case, I'm sincerely thankful and humbled for this experience. Now let's see where One of Words will take us next. Here's a little glimpse of all the fun and exciting activities we had the opportunity to participate in with Kia while in San Diego. Oh my God. So like I'm cringing on the inside reading some of this because it's a little cringeworthy. But let's overlook that and go on. So yeah, so this was a video. I'm not even gonna play it because I don't know what the hell. This is in Chicano Park, which I did love Chicano Park. It's like had beautiful murals everywhere. It was like very Mexican themed. Like you could tell the Mexican culture had a big influence there. And I want to say they have a big population of like Oaxaqueños from people from Oaxaca that live in that area, and so their food's a little different too. But it's a beautiful place. Chicano Park is. And this is a view from the bay, of the bay. And I think this is where we were in that on that hilltop, whatever it was. Um, oh, that's Alice. Alice is I think Alice was one of the people that got me invited to it. But we were doing like a test drive there of the Kia vehicle. So the way it works is like they usually have all their models out, so you can see here they have like different models, and then you take turns like driving all of them around. It was pretty fun. And then this was like we had like sessions where they were talking to us and sharing with us like things about the company and things that were like had happened or things that were coming down the pipe. And it was very, I think that time Kia was very like music centered, so they were building their brand and they were establishing themselves as a young brand. And so like this particular event had like music was the theme of everything, so you can see that. And I guess it made sense. We were staying at the Hard Rock. That I don't even remember. I guess this was just the lowrider, and this is Balboa Park. And doesn't this picture doesn't do it justice because it's just like you can just see the flowers, but like this, the buildings, the architecture, like it's a beautiful space and it's huge. At least the small part, from what I could tell, was pretty huge. So I'm excited to go back, and we're actually planning to go back, hopefully this summer, to experience a little bit more of San Diego and to see it as a family. And one thing about when you go on these trips, when it's like a media trip or like an influencer trip, is that you have an agenda, so you don't necessarily have the time just to go and do whatever you want or explore the city. You can do that in some and to some extent, but it's not always like up to you. So I'm excited to go back where it's just us, because then we can kind of go and like navigate and explore and be tourists in the city. This is the Chicano Park mural, so the underpass on the freeway, they had a bunch of murals. It was pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I thought I'd come in and just read this blog post, because I don't know, like I often feel like there's so many blog posts that I've written that I want to do something with or do something more with. And I do get a lot of I do still get a lot of traffic. Well, not a lot, but I still get regular traffic into my blog, where people come and read, and they have thoughts, or they share thoughts about what I've written in the past. And I don't know, I just like reminiscing about these things. So I thought maybe you guys would find it interesting and relevant for me to come in and share some of these. So hopefully somebody out there is enjoying this. You guys, let me know if you want me to continue doing this. If there's a particular blog post, if you've gone to my blog, and if you remember a certain blog post that you want me to read and kind of like talk through, let me know, and I'll be happy to do that, because I want to do more of this and share more of this content. But like I said, we're planning a trip right now back through New Mexico, Nevada, California, and what's the other one? Arizona. Yeah. So we're planning a trip back there. And for me, I really love that drive, because I feel like it's a really scenic drive. It's a really beautiful drive, and there's so much to see. The only drawback is like right now in the summer, it's pretty hot. So I was gonna say it's pretty effing hot, but it is pretty hot. So, um, but I mean, I think it's worth it regardless, because it's a nice area to visit in California. Like, you can't beat the weather there. Like, I mean, I know that's cliche because everybody says that, but it is nice weather compared to Texas. So anyway, I'll do another one of these soon, and I'll see you. I'll see you then. Thank you for watching, for listening, and yeah, leave me a comment, leave me your thoughts, and like I said, if there's a blog post that you want me to read, just let me know, and I'll be happy to do that. Bueno, nos vemos. Bye bye.